listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by NACS. Whether it's for food, fuel, drinks, or snacks, about half of the U.S. population shops at a convenience store every day. We'll talk about what we see at stores and what the future may hold for our industry.
Welcome to Convenience Matters. I'm Carolyn Schnare with NACS. So it's June 2020, and it has been a surreal, emotional roller coaster of a year all around. But convenience stores are open and have been there to serve their communities the whole time. We created a new short series of podcasts that digs deeper into a few categories. We're going to look at broad trends, what's going on at the store level, and potential future trends and disruptors. You told us you like to binge podcasts, so we're dropping all three at once. This is the second episode in that series, and we're going to focus on cold dispensed beverages. Perfect timing for summer. The previous episode is on fuel, and the next one is on packaged beverages. The weather's hot, maybe you're over your own homemade refrigerator drinks and ready to get back out there. Cold drink in my hand. Okay, I drifted away a little there. When NACS surveys consumers, we find that their number one reason for entering a store is to purchase a beverage. They're thirsty, and a wall of Tua coolers or fountains can help quench that need. For this episode, we'll talk about self-serve drinks. Cold dispensed beverage is the official NACS category name for self-serve drinks. While some of these dispensers had to power down during the pandemic's early days, they're coming back online and hopefully soon to have the success they had before. I reached out to my NACS colleague, Lori Stillman, who is the NACS Vice President of Research, to learn a little more about what falls into this category and its importance to the industry. Lori's a frequent guest on our show, so you're sure to recognize her voice. First, Lori, tell us a little bit about what NACS Research does and how they help the industry.
So NACS Research is really an extension of the services that NACS provides to our members. It's a combination of both qualitative and quantitative research capabilities. So we are collecting data from our retail members, both financial as well as sales performance data. We also have a very robust consumer panel, and as well as third-party data sources that we're able to use to provide insights and bespoke consulting for our members. It's a great resource that helps us just understand not only how the industry is performing today, but helps us really guide what's around the corner and what we need to be paying attention to in order to take advantage of the next opportunities and meet the needs of shoppers as they continue to evolve.
Lori, why are beverages important to the convenience industry?
You know, beverage sales have always been really kind of a leading category for us, whether it is our packaged beverage or whether it's our cold dispensed beverages and some of the other beverage programs that we have. I think largely it's because it's a great opportunity for people to refuel their bodies at the same time they may be on the forecourt refueling their cars. It's relatively low cost in terms of category expenditure. And I think most importantly, it's what we would call expandable consumption, right? So the more we offer, the better we provide. People are more likely to consume more of a beverage than they might have, a snack or some sort of a higher caloric option that we might have in another category. And so for us, making sure that we have the depth and breadth of assortment, that we are, ahead of the curve where we can be in terms of changing consumer preferences and behaviors really helps us be fresh and exciting and a reason to come into a store to see what's new and what's different on the shelf or on a fountain pen.
In this episode and the next one, we talk about beverages. Can you explain how NACS categorizes beverages?
So the Beverage Umbrella really has a couple of different components. Packaged beverage is going to be all of those single-serve or multi-serve products that are prepackaged and delivered to the store in a way that most likely is going to be dispensed in a cold box. So people are coming in and they're looking for a bottle of water or they're looking for a 32-ounce carbonated soft drink that they can take and go with them and reseal as they consume it. In terms of dispensed beverages, these are beverages that are going to be put into a cup, whether it's behind the counter or whether the consumer has a self-serve component. In this case, there's a coffee urn or there's a set of fountain heads or frozen machine dispensers that are going to allow them to select which product they want, pick the size cup that they want to put it in, dispense it themselves, and then pay for it as they leave the store. And those are really the two big components. And they serve different purposes, right? One is very much about always going to be immediate consumption. In some cases, packaged beverage might be something that you're buying two. You'll see a lot of 2 for $3 or 2 for $4 promotions in the cold box because people want to buy one and take it with them, and they may be buying it now for lunch or on their way to a ball game or something for later. So there's certainly a component to having a great offering and a wide assortment for people to take it with them.
Now let's dig into cold dispensed beverages, which is the focus for this episode. Tell us some more about what goes into this group of products and why it's so important to the industry.
All right, so cold dispense. Cold dispense is largely comprised of fountain beverage, right? That's the biggest component. About a little more than 60% of that category comes out of fountain beverage. But there's lots of other programs that consumers are looking every day to cold dispense. Sports drinks continues to show great promise and great margin for the retailers who participate in that category. We're also seeing beverages like tea and lemonade, so non-carbonated beverages become really important. And we're starting to see some very interesting options around cold dispense beverage where consumers can add a flavor, they can add some sort of an enhancer. They certainly can mix up their beverages, kind of like the old suicide sodas that I used to make when I was a kid, where you just kind of played around with fountain heads until you got your perfect concoction. But all of that really helps, I think, retailers drive traffic. It also helps suppliers really understand what are the emerging flavors that people are looking for. And as fountain beverages start to consume, it can really inform potential packaged beverage options that you may want to add into your assortment.
You talked about fountain drinks and suicide sodas. Love the name, by the way, because I'm sure we all can remember not quite getting that mix right and being stuck with some brown, bubbly, muddy concoction at some point, right? What about a drink that I personally like to go get, which is iced coffee? Does that fall into this cold dispensed category too?
It does. So when it's self-dispensed, it is certainly within the cold or hot dispense category. When it is a prepared behind the counter, so maybe more of a chilled iced latte, we may see that in the food service numbers that we have. So it really just depends on how the consumer is able to access the product as to where it falls. But let's talk about, cold brew, nitro-infused beverages. We're certainly seeing a lot of retailers add some fountain heads and tappers in their stores that allow consumers to get, a nitro brewed green tea is something that I tasted at the NACS show last fall that just blew my mind because it was just such a unique and rich and deep flavor. And the idea that we can walk into a convenience store and get that ourselves is really important because that's helping us drive trips, that's helping us win day parts. We know from our CTP study that we have about 15% of our shoppers who, once they leave the convenience store, they're going to a quick serve restaurant. And that might be on their way to a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks to get a great coffee. And the more we can bring those offerings inside the convenience store, we keep those trips, we keep those baskets, and we build bigger baskets as a result. And so that's really important for us to be thinking about the importance of those emerging categories and how we play in our stores to win those trips.
Last but never least, what do you think are some opportunities for the future for this category?
The biggest opportunities in these categories, I think first and foremost, it's being really in tune to the health and diet preferences of shoppers, right? I think there are so many folks who are looking for very specific enhanced beverages. And whether that's at the fountain or whether that's, in packaged bev, I think it's important to know that people are really paying attention to what's on the label. And they're wanting to make sure that can they, in a limited, consumption period, if we can call that, if that's a correct term, get the nutrients that they need, get the electrolytes that they need, whatever they're looking for. If they're trying to replenish after running, a 5-mile jog or on a long bike ride, it's not just about refreshment for the sake of fluids in the body, but they're looking for those fluids to potentially deliver some sort of an enhanced benefit. And I think we have to understand what are the things that matter most to consumers today. Between the Whole30 and the keto diets, et cetera, people are really paying attention to some of those added benefits. So protein-enhanced water is more than just a flavored water. It's actually fulfilling a certain protein requirement that somebody's looking for, albeit in a beverage. And there may be some caloric considerations that drive them to a beverage versus actually consuming a product. And so I think the really big opportunities is to understand what's on the hearts and minds of shoppers as they're thinking about beverage purchases, and can we meet more than just the need of refreshment through how we dispense or serve up a product to them today.
Lori, thanks for helping give us some context around this category and for giving listeners some ideas to take forward. We're going to hear from a couple more folks on this topic who can give us some more ideas. More with them after the break.
This episode is brought to you by Good West Industries. When you partner with Good West, you can expect the best. Good West is your source for authentically delicious cold brew and iced coffees with special blends of premium Kona and Arabica beans, with real dairy ingredients and no preservatives. With premium aseptic, shelf-stable products, reliable and sanitary U.S.-made dispensers, and industry-leading customer service. Good West makes it easy to get started with their risk-free, no initial investment required dispenser program. You can learn more about Good West at goodwest.com.
Welcome back. I know how I shop at a store when I'm going for a drink. I usually know just what I'm going to get right before I get there. Sometimes I'm in a soda mood. Sometimes it's a sport drink kind of day. When I was a kid, my dad and I would ride bikes to the local 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee, and I now do that with my son. I like to stick with a trusty mix of cherry cola. My son usually fills his up with every kind of flavor they have. We don't share. I reached out to Ryan Riggs, Senior Vice President with Global Partners, who works with a number of stores in New England. Ryan has been in the industry for many years, working with this category with several prominent retailers. His company is taking a different and fresh approach to the cold dispense category. Ryan, tell us more about Global Partners' portfolio of stores.
Yes, so Global Partners manages roughly 300 company-owned, company-operated sites, and we do so under numerous brand names. We have a brand called Extra Mart that we operate. We have a brand called Alltown that we operate. We have various other brands that are smaller in number, and my job is to manage our newest and our internal growth brand that's called Alltown Fresh. So it's somewhat related to Alltown, not really. It's certainly a variation of the convenience, or what I would call the typical convenience outlet overall, because we are really catering and trying to set the frontier, if you will, around the word fresh and everything that means to the guest.
Looking at your website, I see that Alltown Fresh has a focus on offering communities healthy and fresh items. Can you tell us more about what you offer in the cold dispensed beverage category?
For Alltown Fresh, really our focus is on trying to provide an offering that people can feel good about eating or drinking. In the cold beverage category specifically, what we have attempted to do is try to take out some of the additives where we could that would make people feel better about what they're drinking. So what we have in Alltown Fresh is we have soda. It is our own Alltown Fresh soda, and we offer them in a unique way. We offer them with tap handles that probably look more like it's beer on tap than it does a typical soda fountain. So we try to call out the section and try to highlight it and try to say it's new, unique, it's different. And we've also done it in our own way with our own branded product in the soda category. We've done the same with juices. We have 6 juices that we offer, and they range from our version of a tea product, if you will, that we make daily, to different flavored juices. And these are things that we make daily and we put out daily. So again, it's created in-house. It's our own branded product. And these are designed to be exactly what our guests are asking for. So we don't use a third-party vendor or partnerships for those. So the other, and probably the most unique thing we have relative to other convenience operators, is we have kombucha on tap. So we offer several flavors of kombucha, usually 4, and they are different flavor profiles, all from the same vendor who's local to New England. And this is something that we also sell in our cold packaged bev category, but we offer it on tap. We have a growler program with it, and we really try to call out and highlight the wellness side of kombucha, the reasons you should drink it from a wellness perspective.
A trend that Lori talks about and that we've heard many times on this show, customers say they want better for you options, that they want to eat and drink healthier. It sounds like that's a trend that you're looking to capitalize on with your Alltown Fresh brand. Can you tell me more about what you've noticed in customer behaviors and purchases?
Yeah, I think the first trend is just that beverage is really a driver. Almost anyone in our industry would tell you that. It is one of the most often purchased items. And like I referenced earlier, the majority of the overwhelming majority in some of our sites have a beverage. Overwhelming majority of transactions have a beverage. So it speaks to the popularity of beverage in general. It certainly speaks to our ability in the convenience industry to provide that as really a cornerstone of our offer, right? So overall trends, I would also say that in being such a great provider of beverage, it really gives convenience operators the opportunity to expand on what those beverages can be. Since we're already seen as a beverage outlet, right? It gives us the opportunity to test things and to enable us to gain traction with certain things that maybe other places wouldn't, as well as to try new things. Because some of our vendor partners realize we're such a beverage haven, if you will. So what I've seen is there are guests that are much more interested in healthier beverages. I've seen the water category just exponentially grow in terms of different SKUs, even with the same company. Same company could have 20 plus SKUs of different types of water. So that has certainly grown. I think when it comes to the sporty beverage category, if you will, or segment of that category, the products like Gatorade and Powerade have really spawned other maybe lesser known right now products that certainly have grown as people look to sort of beverage as a performance additive. I will say on the other main thing I would say is coffee in general continues to be a driver. I mean, even if it's variations of self-serve, even if it's variations of full serve, we're in Dunkin's backyard, and they continue to be a great demonstrator of the power of coffee and how you can change it up. You can change up the offer. You can do it differently. You can add different roasts, etc., and really drive traffic. And one of the things we've done is we've incorporated bean to cup machines. We have an outstanding local roaster, local to us. They're based out of Connecticut, who provides us with 6 exceptional blends, and we offer them in these great bean to cup machines. And it provides an outstanding cup of coffee. It's tremendous. So with that, we offer various additives. We cater and really lean in on the better for you additives, certainly the better for you milk substitutes. But we also offer in our kitchens, we also offer cold brew. We also offer espresso based beverages. We also offer lattes, mochas, etc. So I know other industries, other firms in the industry are getting into that. And I think it is going to continue to be a major element of our offer. We know people come for the breakfast day part. We know coffee is a big part of that breakfast day part. And I think sky's the limit when it comes to coffee in our industry.
Ryan, you've been around the industry for a while. Do you have any advice for those looking to grow in this category?
I would say to anyone looking to expand the category is, I mean, again, we benefit from this being an area of primarily redundancy for us, and it has enabled us to trial a lot of things. For people that don't have maybe as much space as we do, it becomes more of a problem. And what I would say is, make sure that you focus in on the things that your guests like the most. Ask your guests what they want. Make sure you're getting feedback either directly or through a vendor partner. Make sure that you know what's purchased, and make sure that you are aware of competitive offerings. So if someone's offering something that's dramatically different, but they're getting a lot of play on it, it's selling more, it's something that you probably need to respond to. I would say for people that have more space, I think it's about staying aware of trends. And let's face it, the cold beverage category, by and large, has been an area of a lot of margin. And it's hard to say goodbye to that margin at times, which is why so many people lean heavily into fountain, right? Just in general. I would say that as you grow the area, it's important to understand where you can cut items that just don't sell, even if it's an add-on item from a vendor, and really focus in on the items that do. And the area can really enable you to try new things. I mean, kombucha on tap has been a great ad for us because it really ties in well with what our brand stands for, which is food that doesn't have to, it's wellness food that doesn't have to be separated from convenience food. So when you think about our offer, it's vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, locally sourced where possible, natural and organic. It fits right in with a wellness offer. And it's something a lot of people aren't doing. So if you can tie it into a larger message, I think it can speak volumes if you can live by that message.
Wow, thank you, Ryan. Good advice for folks. I don't know about you, but it's the middle of my day and I'm ready for some caffeine. So let's talk about a rising star in this category, iced and cold brew coffee. Who better to speak with than someone who's responsible for getting it into some stores? David Rennie, Senior Vice President of Sales for Good West Industries, is a provider of dairy products and fine coffees to the convenience industry. Coffee used to be served hot and drank with breakfast. In the last few years, like Lori said, customers are buying coffee at all times of the day, especially cold and iced coffees. David, can you tell us about the iced coffee category performance and some trends on who's drinking it?
The total category is doing very well. When you take a look at cold brew and iced coffees, it skews extremely young, it skews female, it skews ethnic. The penetration on iced coffees, when you just look at iced coffees in totality with millennials, 66% drink iced coffee, right? And what's interesting is they now are gravitating from just generic iced coffee to cold brew. And when you look at some of the facts around cold brew, the penetration is increasing every year by 6 to 10%, depending on what syndicated source you're looking at it. What's really nice about shifting your consumer from iced coffee to cold brew is there's facts at the register. They vote every day at the register, and it's telling you that over 90% are willing to pay a premium for cold brew. So you don't have to be quite as price sensitive. And the product cost, at least within our portfolio, is really not that much difference. Although the steeping process and the extracts that we use are a little more expensive, we don't necessarily pass it on to the distributor and or retailer because the consumer is expecting a similar price point. So we want to make sure that all involved in the three-tier system can make a healthy margin on cold brew and capitalize on the trends that the consumers are voting with at the register every day. So literally, these millennials, they're looking for C-stores to carry more of it. And in fact, 55% of all C-store patrons between the ages of 16 and 34 would actually like more C-stores to offer cold brew. And over 1/3 of those consumers, they think cold brew is excellent or very good. So again, they understand the steeping process that makes it a more mellow product, a little more palatable than just traditional iced coffee, and they're willing to pay for it. And what's really interesting is cold brew sales they've increased over 80% the last 12 months.
Can fountain beverages, cold coffee, or beverages in general be a traffic driver to get customers in the store, especially as people start getting out again after the pandemic?
Yeah, when you look at dispensed beverages, like I said earlier, you think about the price points and how they utilize that category to really build traffic and drive people in store. And it's even more important today. The pump to store conversion is even more critical than where it was. We'll have a lot of people, and you know this right now, gasoline sales are starting to pick up roughly 5% by week. The question is, are those people now feeling comfortable enough to go in store, and then obviously for the retailer to convert a sale in store from pump to store. And it's really critical. And another critical point here is that when you look at the way you can build the basket and drive traffic in store with buy one, get ones, or some kind of cross merchandising program with just overall fountain and or all dispensed beverages, including iced coffees. I mean, literally iced coffees and cold brew now are over, 10% of total coffee revenue is cold coffee, whether it's an iced coffee or cold brew. And when you think about the size of the category, coffee sales are roughly $6.5 billion. That's a large 10% and growing. But what's really critical, it skews highly ethnic, female, and certainly young. And the programming that you can bundle to attract that consumer to go in store for a drink, and then obviously you can cross merch with so many different categories. You can even do buy one, get one programming. And then, a lot of smarter retailers now are tying it into the loyalty program and points and rewards. And that's a great way to build the basket and obviously the ring with all these consumers that are going in store from the pumps.
What's the biggest opportunity with this category?
I think the biggest opportunity is to make sure that you are offering a quality product to today's consumer. And I don't think you need to give it away. I really don't. You can certainly have a drive category within coffee, but some of the cold brews and iced coffee selections is where you can make some of that margin back on hot coffee loss leaders that a lot of retailers are driving. And I will tell you this, is that you really want to make sure that you have a dispensing mechanism of really quality machinery and dispensers that you feel good about. You want to make sure that you've got variety, quality, you've got a mechanism or dispenser that is going to stand the test of time. I will tell you this, I think the category is a very viable, healthy category, number one, for supplier, distributor, and retail. So it's a great category with a 3-tier system. It does have healthy margins. What's really nice is the category skews really young. As I said earlier, female and ethnic. And that's what all C-store operators are trying to do. They're trying to get young adults, females, ethnic consumers in the door. And then once they get them in the door, then they can push all the wonderful things that this retailer group and this channel is doing around food services. But you do need categories, drive categories like dispensed beverages, fountain, certainly beer, cigarettes, coffee. Those are all great categories to get people in store. And then your internal merchandising solutions can go to work for you. But literally, the way I see this is that the penetration within the convenience store channel for truly cold brew and iced coffee solutions is not even that 50%. So we've got to get more retailers supporting this because more consumers are looking for it and more people are willing to pay a premium for it. So I think the channel has done a really nice job of promoting quality foods. By and large, it is an option for today's young adult. Why shouldn't cold brew and iced coffee be an option for them too? Don't let those dollars go to QSRs or specialty coffee stops. And you know what? When you get them in the store, we all know they're going to buy something other than that cup of coffee, hot coffee in the morning, or iced coffees throughout the day, or cold brews. There's no doubt about that. You do not want that revenue to go elsewhere and outside the channel.
Well, there you have it. If you're not already on your way to go get yourself something with ice in a cup, then the day is still young, my friends. For the retail listeners out there, the importance of fountain and iced drinks have a lot of opportunity for you. We hope you're enjoying this deep dive into categories within the convenience store channel. There are 2 other episodes that came out today talking about liquid fuel, the ones that go in your body and the ones that go in your car. Check them out and let us know what you think. If you want to hear more episodes like this, give me a shout. Go to conveniencematters.com. Thank you for listening to Convenience Matters, brought to you by NACS and produced in partnership with Human Factor. This episode is sponsored by Good West Industries, and thank you to Lori, Ryan, and David for their insights. To learn more, visit convenience.org.